Welcome to Vision Profiles Podcast. Join us, dedicated Apple Vision Pro users, as we dive into everything from hardware and software to apps and the latest updates in the world of Apple Vision Pro. I'm Marty Gensius, a faculty member at a Midwest University, podcaster, and Apple product fan.
And I'm Eric Bolden. I work in IT, but my interest is in finding interesting ways to share content. Currently, photography of plants, birds, panoramic sequences, and drops of water.
And I am Dave Ginsburg, the host of the In Touch with iOS podcast, with a deep passion for technology, especially Apple, and how it's used in real-world environments. I've been, as an IT professional and iPhone subject matter expert, I'm continually discovering new ways Apple Vision Pro is shaping the future of computing.
How is everyone doing? Dave, you're coming off a move. So
Yeah, we're starting week 2. It was what was it? A week ago, this past Friday, that we moved in, and it's progressing along, but I have bins everywhere. Still trying to figure out where I'm going to put all this stuff because I have too much stuff.
yeah.
So I'm gonna keep blurred for a little bit longer before I can have this thing the way I want it. But finding parts, setting up the lights. I couldn't find I had the pivot up at the top there. That isn't there, and I'm just putting it on the stand. Those subtle things there.
Eric, anything to do with you?
It rained, it poured. We had sun today. Kind of good. I'm taking Dave's move and office rearrangement as sort of a challenge to see if maybe I can move along my unpacking from many, many years ago that's still not done. And I can unblur, within a week or so of Dave unblurring. So we'll see.
Yeah, I calmly keep my camera positioned in one direction because anything on the floor you would see it's like one of those little puzzle mazes where I have to step and then move something and then step and move something else. It's spring break here at the university, and my goal is to kind of get my floor cleaned up and crammed into the closet.
that's
Even
that's the way you do it.
from the trip I took, I don't know, a month ago, still don't have the stuff unpacked from there. It's in different bags on the floor. So messy, messy me. But we'll see how it goes. Hey, new beta today came out
Hmm.
for developer beta 26.4 beta 4. It's 8.7 gigabytes. And I went ahead and did the upload this afternoon, and it was very strange because I had the headset on and I'm watching the upload. It says 8.7 gigabytes, and there's just a little bit of blue on the progress bar. And then, bam, it jumps completely halfway over, and it's like processing update. So it
Wow.
was weird. It was very weird. It was like almost like it had it before I even had a chance to download it. So, and then it went pretty quick. Not a lot new with it. Did either of you do the updates yet?
Yeah, I just did it. I kicked it off. I put the headset on, and then just put it on my stand here, and it did it by itself. I just heard the boom, boom, that it
Oh,
finished
yeah,
its
okay.
update. So yeah, it was quick because you're right. It was. I don't think it took less than 5 minutes.
It was weird. It was almost like maybe they were using parts of the previous update that was stored in there or something because it just jumped right up
Yeah.
and there was nothing going on. So
Let's say hi to Chuck Joyner in the cat room.
yeah, yeah. Chuck's in the chat room. Hi, Chuck. And then Eric, you haven't done it yet, or
No, I did it. It took a while. I figured it'd be fast like the last time, and started it. Nothing seemed to happen. It said, waiting, 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 waiting. So I, rebooted and figured, I probably should have rebooted to start with, and then started off and went outside to go work on cutting down some trees. Did a bunch of stuff. Came back a couple hours later. Still nothing. went to kind of poke around a bit, and it said, "Hey, do you want to delete what you've downloaded so far?" And then I knew it was just my slow network. So
Huh.
waited 20 minutes later, it finishes the download, and then prepping install that went smoothly. It was fast. It just took a while to get all of the piles of parts in.
Yeah, there's some changes in it. Beta 4 mostly focuses, however, on bug fixes and developer improvements. The big change is CloudXR foveated streaming support. And so there's now streaming support for CloudXR in the foveated version, which means where you're looking at is where it focuses. Apple fixed the asset pack download crashes that were happening on Beta 3 and also a networking memory leak that occurred. StoreKit now also includes revocation tracking fields for refunds on products, and some issues still remain with SwiftUI animations and a streaming battery drain. It's sort of like it doesn't, when you take it off, it doesn't shut down the streaming and shut down the device. The device doesn't go to sleep. So that turns out to be a battery drain for it. But they'll work that out in a couple of weeks. We'll have fixes for that or have the final version of 26.4 coming out. So yeah, that's about that with the new beta. News there. I went through looking for articles related to Vision Pro, and I went through some feeds and searched through feeds. There were, for the last week, about 110 articles on Vision Pro. But most of them, when you click on them, they're dated from previous weeks. So they're republished or re-released. And there wasn't really a lot of new information on Vision Pro. We will cover some of those articles and we'll cover some of the apps and things that are doing. A lot of chatter on Reddit, as Eric had talked about pre-show. But for me, the big news this week was the beginning of the F1 season. And the difference as it is on Vision Pro. And we have a pal by the name of Webb Bixby who's a big F1 racer, and I was
fan.
talking a fan. Yeah, he's not a racer. He's
I was
a
going to
fan.
say.
I think he'd like to be a racer.
Yeah.
Webb, when you listen to this,
Love you, Webb.
You can let us know when you're going to be driving in a Formula One race. The F1 experience on the Vision Pro is just, in the live stream, is just amazing. And I spent most of my week looking for opportunities for the live stream. It was the Australian F1 race, the Grand Prix race that was going on. So they had practice runs, they had time trials, and then they had the actual race. And if you were tuning in live, even if you don't have a Vision Pro, take a look at it on your Apple TV and look at the replays. If you have a Vision, you did, Dave. I know you did, Dave.
I actually watched it live on the Apple TV, and it was a pretty good experience. I mean, the multiple screens were easy to interface with, and being able to get the views you wanted. You could pick different content that was out there. So I thought it was a real good experience on the Apple TV. I'm definitely I got some more, squeeze some time and do some Vision Pro time to take a look at the replays. Yeah.
So for the live stream on the Apple TV, you could select multi-screen. Is that what you're?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Because I didn't realize you could do that. I only looked at the Apple TV stuff in replay, and in replay that doesn't seem to be available. That's also
I didn't try to. I did it live, so I didn't
Yeah.
try it with replay. So
Yeah, well, that's true for me with replay. I couldn't find the option for multi-screen, and also with the Vision Pro, you don't have multi-screen on the replay. So you only have to to get multi-screen. You've got to be catching it
Live.
live. And I think the next one is in Shanghai at 3 in the morning. I don't think I'll be getting up at 3 in the morning to watch a live version of the race. But yeah,
Yeah, it's a little early.
it's it's pretty amazing though. The multi-screen, being able to select content that you have and what content you want to watch. I spent most of my time watching just the general feed in the large screen, but then I had smaller screens
Hmm.
that I put the leader and the second place driver in from their point of view, and that was pretty cool to see. And the leader often switched to a backwards camera. Let me see, let's see how far the number 2 is behind me or
Hmm.
coming up on me, and it was really quite cool. Um, Cletus has joined us in the chat room, and you reminded us that we started late. So so good to have you in the chat room, Cletus.
Keeps us on
Any
time.
other, yeah, any other experiences with this that you'd like to talk about?
Well, I have to say, I enjoyed it a lot. I
Yeah.
had multiple screens up, and you could kind of rotate which one was the big screen and the side screens. I am somewhat affected by a somewhat slow network, and sometimes the screens would update, sometimes they wouldn't update, but it was kind of neat because whichever one of the windows you were looking at, after a few seconds, it focused on that and that updated. So you could kind of just peek from screen to screen to sort of keep everything going. So yeah, you want to have some bandwidth to watch, but it was nice.
Yeah, I kind of, with what they're. Did you have you watched any more basketball games?
Hmm.
I watched the first one, but have you watched, Eric? You've watched other ones?
Yeah, you need to watch because they're tweaking little bits of things. The sound is getting a
Yeah.
little better. I think Dave mentioned it. You can actually hear the some of the squeaking and some of the balls
Right.
bouncing that were completely gone the first time. It still isn't quite the same as the TV broadcast. So it was sort of interesting to watch the 2D broadcast and then flip back to the immersive. I still prefer the immersive. Um, I found it's a little bit hard to watch the immersive if you're slouching because you got to look down to see the score.
Yeah,
If you're sitting up nice
Right.
and straight and focused
You're
on the
looking up and
TV,
looking
then
down. Yeah.
yeah, that. But if you're like leaning forward into the action, then it's the scoreboard's right there and very very convenient. But they're forgetting that it's all immersive and you're not totally sitting right at the edge of the of the court. So you could be slouching and watching it, but yeah, I've enjoyed it. It was good. I haven't. I was watching highlights of the other two games. I haven't gone back to watch the full, but I have to say I have not watched basketball in years, and this is enough to get me to go back and watch it.
Hmm.
so I'm going to ask a question for both of you. Has Apple got something here? I mean,
With
are
F1?
we? Has Apple got something here? Are we seeing sort of a new emergence of what sports coverage could be?
I mean, I think they've already been trying it. They tried it with baseball.
Yeah,
They've done it with with football, soccer,
MLS. Yeah,
MLS. Yep. And so this isn't anything new, but uh, I think they really put some hardcore technology into this F1 racing because this is a big partnership. They paid some serious money to get the rights for this, and they want to do it right. And starting with the movie, it got me to. I definitely want to watch more. The movie really drove a lot of more people to want to watch these races because like we talked about, I never really followed F1. Our friend Webb
hmm
is a huge fan, and so he'd always been watching it. But I think this is really attracting more people to want to see, especially what the technology does of how they're showing the race, because you aren't seeing this on network TV like that.
Yeah. But I think progressively, I think MLB was interesting. I think
Yeah.
MLS never really took advantage of multiple cameras. It was full field shots. However, they did do some things in terms of player movement as a separate form of information, which they weren't using in baseball because players pretty much stand where they're going to stand. And then you've got basketball, so they're doing the kind of full immersion thing, which is cool. And now you've got F1, and like you said, Dave, they've really stepped it up. But they're also using a lot of cameras in the sense of you as a viewer have control over what you want to see on your screen. I know we've seen that in other, with other possibilities, like with NFL Ticket, you can watch multiple games at the same time. But for those of us who don't have NFL Ticket, this kind of introduces the multi-camera options where you can select what you want to see, from what point of view you want to watch it. So,
and it's each season, each game, each sport has been getting better and better. I think they're still learning, they're still building out infrastructure. There's still the broadcast teams are learning kind of how to do this. Um, I, I don't think they can pull in a kind of traditional broadcast team and just dump them into immersive and have it work quite right. So they're building up teams, giving them experience, letting them practice, and they seem to be taking notes and improving. And so,
Right.
yeah, within a couple of years, I think we'll see this build out quite a bit more. Right about the time that there'll be more people ready to watch.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
YouTube TV is doing it now too, because they've really expanded upon how multi view is going, and they're not just limiting it to NFL Ticket. They're opening up to all content. You could be watching Law and Order, a basketball game, and you can watch two other things in a multi view. Before they would just when I was first started subscribing to what YouTube TV, it was limited to the sports. You only had the football and basketball, baseball, but then they would interact the sports. So you could watch a baseball game and a football game together. But now they've even opened it up even more. So I love to see Apple do this too. I mean, and being able to interact with other shows. Granted, the stuff that YouTube TV is doing is live in most cases while they're doing it. I mean, they've got set multi-screen things for news and for weather, like got the Weather Channel and Fox Weather. If you really feel like watching both of the weather channels at once here, which is actually not bad because you can see what one's saying and the other's saying when it comes to that there's some forecasts are a little different, but I think YouTube TV is doing a great job of expanding upon this technology because it is really it's kind of cool. I mean, I really enjoyed NFL Sunday Ticket this year. So much so I made to subscribe again because it is pricey. You're spending about
Yeah.
$300 at minimum for the whole season, but it really got me into it because they made it limited too with NFL Sunday Ticket because you can only do you wanted to create your own multi view in certain games you wanted to watch, and they would restrict sometimes. So they're working through those kinks. But yeah, I like to see Apple do this too, and be able to do it on the Vision Pro would be even more amazing.
Yeah. I asked the chat room if anybody had looked at NFL Ticket, or not NFL Ticket, excuse me, looked at the
F1.
F1. Thank
Have
you.
fun.
So I'm trying to run the board and at the same time spacing out. And if anybody in the chat room has kind of looked at it, and Cletus did say he has it on his watch list. He just finished. It just finished. Plus is and Monarch. So ask me on Friday is what he's saying. So we'll find out.
We'll get the report back, Cletus. We expect it.
Okay, I think we we can step into another subject and let's look at patents. You
Your
can tell it's been a
favorite.
dry work week when we go to patents. A couple of new patents. Apple invents a new approach to wearable displays with eyeglass mounted AR display and much more. And so Apple has done this patent that allows for a transparency window positioned in front of a user's eye. Hey guys, this is sounding a lot like Google Glass. And a waveguide that directs visible light to create images, a housing that contains electronics and a connector arm. And you can see if you check this link out, all the links will be in the show notes. You can see the design and technical illustration of what they're talking about here. This is something that's going to clip onto the display unit on one of the arms for the glasses potentially. So it'll be an additional kind of modular expansion and configuration with it. The connecting arm can also house components like a controller, a speaker, and an antenna for wireless communication. Interesting.
And it sounds like you can get more than one, so you could actually do it for both eyes, so that you could have more immersive content,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool. It's sort of building a headset without building a headset.
Yeah. Then the other or one of the other articles is Apple develops an advanced gaze correction system for future XR devices. And the patent introduces the technology adds to calibration process during which device setup determines the true relationship between the eye's optical structure and the user's actual line of sight. And goes on for a lot of information about that. But then there is a diagram on this one that kind of shows you what the intent is of this particular patent, that the way the second frame can or second layer can look at line of sight and determine what you're actually looking at in that. So
It was
another
interesting
pat,
because I
yeah.
I hadn't realized that there was that much of a difference between what it seemed like you were looking at and what you were actually looking at. So it's kind of nice to know that there is an adjustment factor that can be taken into account. It
And
kind of
then
makes me wonder if, for some of the people who have problems with the Vision Pro, if with that little tweak, there can be more users that feel comfortable using it.
Yeah. Third patent that comes out is Apple reinvents the VR face cushion with multi-zone facial interface and more. And a pretty cool diagram here, or at least a description of the patent. And Apple redesigns facial interface for Vision Pro with multi-zone comfort, structural support, optimized eye to display distance. And you can see how this looks on the patent and what different sections of the facial cushion or the facial connection will have and what they're capable of doing with this. Controlled eye to lens distance, multi material, adaptive cushioning. They have customizable and replaceable components, which the bumper can have all sorts of things. They're removable, interchangeable, integrated ambient light management, just a lot of stuff this new frame can do.
Kind of makes me wonder if they're setting it up so you can get closer to the lens and
Could be.
still get the adjustments. It was neat to see that they're looking for more airflow and maybe adjusting of other ambient light.
Yeah. Here's where I'm thinking. And based on what we're seeing in terms of patents, patents are an indication of this. There are patents that seem really glasses specific that we've covered, and then patents that seem to be augments to or improvements to what the typical Apple Vision Pro is like now in terms of form factor. So I'm thinking we're going to see sort of a bifurcation of the line, where if you want the full AR VR experience, which you're not going to get on glasses, you're not going to get on glasses. You'll get on goggles in some form. But if you want the AR VR productivity experience, you're going to go on to Vision Pro 2, which might have some of these components in it. If you're going to want the notification, email, that kind of stuff, you're going to move to the glasses. And if you'll be limited in terms of what you can do with the glasses, but it'll be much more of a device that is going to be usable out in the wild than walking around with a Vision Pro headset is going to be. So
And I think it'll be shareable.
Yeah.
The eyeglasses clip thing, because it'll work it with prescription and non-prescription, and it looked like, sports glasses, a whole range. So being able to have, a group of them or something you can hand out to a bunch of people, less expensive.
Yeah. It's we will see what happens with that. But I'm excited to spend money two ways now. Let's see what comes out first, Vision Pro 2 or the glasses. Anyway, a slow week. Okay, again, a slow news week, and a couple of articles came out, and they've been talking about this. I think if Daniel was here, he's much more familiar with and friendly with the Pico's project. It's called Swan XR, and it's a headset that, of course, is targeting Apple Vision Pro, pivoting from gaming first VR into high resolution spatial computing with upcoming project Swan XR headset, 4,000 parts per inch micro LED displays, launching globally later this year in 2026 alongside the new Pico OS 6. Project Swan is pitched as a monitor replacement and productivity device. Project Swan is Pico and ByteDance. You remember ByteDance? They're the company that was the TikTok company, I believe.
They were?
The loudest. Yeah. Aren't they?
Yes, they are. I said they were, yes.
Oh, they were. Okay.
Sorry.
I didn't know if there was a question mark at the end of that.
No, I my
Yeah.
tone there, sorry.
So, it's going to be used the Qualcomm Snapdragon XR2 Gen 2 platform. And so I have two articles, one from Hypebeast and another one from Wired that talks about Pico's Project Swan headset. Again, links are available in the chat, not in the chat, but also in the show notes.
Sure.
So you'll be able to find these articles if you want to know more about this. Articles say a lot of the same stuff, and but you'll find both of them there.
Nice.
Yeah. A good article from Apple Magazine that came out this week, Vision Pro Gestures, How Hand and Eye Navigation Works on the Vision Pro. So, if you want a little education about how the process is, how eye tracking powers selection in the process, and how that works with hand gestures, you should take a look at this article. Apple Magazine does a nice job of overviewing and informing, and also giving you the strategies for, like in this case, this is scrolling in visionOS also uses a natural pinch motion. Look at the scrollable window, pinch your thumb and index finger together, move your hand. So it gives you directions on things that you can play with, how to close a window. All of this is a good kind of overview. And that article just came out a couple of days ago, 3 days ago, on Apple Magazine.
Nice.
Yeah, now we're getting into more kind of industrial uses. And these were some articles I found that were part of how I thought industry was using it. And I think it's kind of neat. This is an article from trifork.com, the website the company website, informing readers that it's going to launch Sync to reduce costly equipment downtime with remote maintenance and repair. The application uses Apple Vision Pro to connect technicians in the field to crews in real time. And it talks about how they're doing that and how the technicians can talk to the crews through this app, Sync, that allows on-site operators, they can connect to remote specialists using an Apple Vision Pro headset. The specialists can view the operator's environment directly through either a second headset or an iPad application. Using that field of vision, the specialist can perform full diagnostic and guide the operator through the fix in real time. Pretty cool application. And it's always fun to find these articles where companies are finding ways to use Apple Vision Pro. Another one of those is Material X for Apple Vision Pro, a professional PBR material editing in spatial computing. What is a PBR? Pabst Blue Ribbon is what I remember PBR as.
Yeah.
Screaming Chicago. Photo to PBR conversion. Transforms ordinary photos of wood, stone, metal, and fabric into complete PBR texture sets, including albedo, normal, roughness, metallic, ambient occlusion, and clear coat maps. Real-time 3D preview integration with RealKit enables instant visualization of material changes on 3D objects under realistic HDR lighting. There is an app for it. And there it is, Material X. Spatial materials from images. That is being used and can be in-app purchases. Yearly subscription, $79.80. Any thoughts on this, guys?
Physically based rendering is PBR.
I like Pabst Blue Ribbon better. But
It's texture maps.
yeah.
The first one I really liked. That's really cool.
Yeah.
The kind of much faster response times.
Yeah.
And somebody being able to walk somebody else through. I like that a lot.
Yeah. And it gives a visual so people don't have to just describe it or FaceTime it or whatever they were going to do. This one looks like it's the Material X looks like it is, functional in terms of turning photos into complete sets of PBR texture maps. and apply them to 3D objects in immersive space. From photo to material, and it allows you different textures to be able to do it. So we'll have the link to the article and also the link to the app if you want to. It's free, but there are in-app purchases if you want to play with that. This next one I thought was an interesting application. I'm kind of a chemistry wonk, and I could understand why this was a bit of a frustration for folks. This is it's a Reddit chemistry subreddit. Tired of explaining crystal unit cells with flat 2D diagrams, so I built something for Apple Vision Pro. And if you get a chance, go in and take a look at this short video that's linked within the link that we have. And Crystal Room. He built Crystal Room to fix this. And it also reads standard CIF files. Is there an app called Crystal Room? If you guys can check that out. App is called Crystal Room, and it's on Apple Vision Pro Store if anybody wants to try it. So maybe we should have saved that for the app section, but this is pretty cool. Apparently a chemistry teacher or crystallography with that as a possibility. There was a lot on Reddit, as you pointed out, Eric, this week of people trying new apps, putting test versions of their apps out, announcing apps that will appear in the chat room or appear in the app store in July. Just interesting, a lot of interesting stuff coming up, but not through the usual channels. Let's see. This one, hey, I am no good at this, but there is a person that created a paper toss app for Apple Vision Pro. And this is an app that you can practice tossing wads of paper at a garbage can and seeing what success you
Love
have
those
doing
apps.
that. You love those apps?
Yeah, what was the one I used to play all the time? I forget. That was like that. It was fun.
I'm no good at that stuff. It just does not work for me to be able to. It always seems like it has my physics off. Like I'm dropping the wads of paper all the time. I'm not able to throw them. I just have not had success with those. But we will, of course, make this available for you in the chat room if you want to throw some virtual paper balls, wadded up paper balls, Tiny Town apps. Cletus has kind of said Tiny Town apps. And I'm not sure exactly what he's talking about in terms of Tiny Town apps. But, yeah, in the chat room. Party games.
Ooh.
I don't know if you looked at this. Party Games 2.0 for Apple Vision Pro is out. There's a solo mode, but there's also a tournament mode. And some new things with it. You can see the kind of little promotion video that's in the link that we'll post that was on X originally. We need to, the three of us, and Daniel and two, we need to find a time where we can say, let's all meet up at this time and let's play the arcade games. There's a couple of, like, we talked about one last week and then this too, games that we could try as to team up and play with. So another one is you can do a scanning of your room. This is a scan export, and the app is called Scan Export, and we have an article on it, or at least a post on it, that was in X, and it shows how you can scan your room and then create a smaller model of it based on what scanning has occurred.
Mm.
And if you're watching the video of it, you're watching the video of this episode. You're seeing how the scanning has occurred. I've had this done on a couple of games, like the zombie game, where you have to scan your environment, and also the Meta has a spatial game that is an invasion game with little tribble-like things. You have to scan your room in order to play it, because these things come bursting out of the walls, so it has to know where the wall is in order to do it. But this seems like it has not just gaming in mind. It seems like it's more of a practical effect for it. And then you have the app. That is the app we're talking about here, Scan Export. It's a 3D scanner app. It's a LiDAR scanner in 3D floor plan that's available for it. And are there in-app purchases? Yes, there are. So $15 a month, or $50 a year, or you can buy generation credits if you want that. So you would probably need to have a real practical purpose for this if you were going to drop that kind of coin on a scanner app for layout. Any thoughts or comments? Okay.
Not on that one.
This next one, and it's the second to the last one. Eric has a app that he wants to kind of talk about with this. Arcade Arena just launched on Apple Vision Pro. The basketball game feels like Space Jam. Get hot and your room catches on fire, start bricking, and the bricks fall into your room. You can see, I'll expand it for folks who are watching the video. You can see what the basketball hoop is like in process. So it's a single person shooter basically, with all sorts of things that you can do with it. I'm as good at this as I am at tossing paper wads in a garbage can. So that's that's kind of a rundown of some fun stuff. We'll again have it in the show notes with links to these various, not only the posts that people have made, but where we can find them and put them in. We'll put the game or the link to whatever games they're talking about so you can play around with them. Check out the show notes in our video version of this show, and also in the podcast audio version of this show. We'll have the links to what we have here. I'm looking at notes in the chat room. Hi, Craig.
Hey, Craig.
Thanks for joining us. And he's in there with Cletus. And then we've got one last app to talk about. Like I said,
one comment before we get to that app. And
Okay.
there were a couple discussions on Reddit. They were discussing spatial videos that people have taken of pets. So sort of a reminder, even if you don't have a Vision Pro, or the rest of your family doesn't have a Vision Pro, eventually there will be more ways to consume spatial media. So if you've got a pet, take some spatial video and spatial stills, or kids at whatever age, or favorite places, or I forgot I was going to mention it to Dave with his old house to grab a couple
Mhm.
Yeah.
spatial pictures. Um, because as there are more devices that come out, or glasses devices or whatever, then you can go back and look at material you've previously captured, and all you need is a phone for that, or
Yeah.
if you have a Vision Pro, record it there.
Yeah. And David has a phone, that orange behemoth. That
Yeah, that one there.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I like that one.
The Pro Max, or that will allow him to do spatial photography. I keep forgetting I have that capability, and I just never take pictures and video where I probably should, just to be able to have that effect. And whether I look at it now or down the road, so if you have an aging grandma and you don't know how long she's going to be around, go ahead and shoot some spatial video for her, of her, because it'll come in handy,
Yeah.
someday when
Well,
she's not with you.
and it's true if you get, like a new puppy or a new kitten, because they're not puppies and kittens forever.
Right.
Get a couple of pictures when they're young, and then when all they want to do is sleep and stare at you, you got pictures of when they were running around knocking things off the counter, and you can be grateful for them being a little more relaxed.
Yeah, our dog has kind of moved into that phase of relaxation, and my wife and I are really appreciating it. And
Mhm.
she's had some joint. Not my wife, the dog, has had. Well, my wife has had some joint issues too, in the past, but uh, she regained her mobility. But the dog is. You can tell the dog is slowing down, so it's probably good,
Yeah.
to get some pictures of her now and video of her now if possible. Tell us about spatial film again, Eric.
So we covered this app once before. So Spatial Film, it's an app that lets you watch spatial videos, and they create new content every week and release it. A bunch of the content they create, they also release to YouTube. They have a YouTube channel, but on the YouTube channel, if you don't have an M5 Vision Pro, the high resolution videos you can't watch because the decoder doesn't work. But with the Spatial Film app, you can watch fully immersive design for the Vision Pro content, and it looks good. They've done a nice job on the filming so that it doesn't, give you sort of a disjointed run at things. They control the motion, and the people that do that content also hold seminars for other people and make notes about how they're doing their content and what they're using for equipment, so that they can get other filmmakers to kind of learn from what they're doing. Um, I'm not always sure about the acting, but they have visited interesting places, and they give a little bit of background. It kind of falls into the um, anything that is a documentary. And if you
Mm-hmm.
go to a park or go to a museum or go to a castle, that's all documentaries, or a waterfall or whatever. And so you go to a place, you get a sense of the surrounding area, maybe a little bit of history, and you get to kind of walk through some details and discover what's there along with the filmmaker. Um, and occasionally, if there's a mirrored surface, you can see the camera equipment that's being
Mm-hmm.
used. So I just sort of find it interesting. And for all the people that say there's never any content, there's content that shows up every month.
Um, okay, so I want to go back to this a little bit. Spatial film. I know that's we brought this one up before. This one is $10 a month. It's a subscription service. Do
Yep.
you do subscription services, Eric, with something like this?
At the moment, paying for it, partly because it funds the generating new content. I don't know if
Okay.
I'll do it all year, but I'll do it for a few months and kind of support. Let's put more content out there. And it lets me watch some higher quality content without having an M5 Vision Pro. And I figured $10 a month, $3,500 for a new unit. If it lets me buy a few months, okay, it's
If
worth it.
isn't there another app that does this too? I remember us talking about another, and again, it's a $10 a month sort of subscription, and I can't remember
Yeah,
what that app.
and I yeah, we talked about it I think last month. I don't remember right now. But this one I like because there are online tutorials and there's training of other video people and encouragement to generate additional content and explanation of exactly how things work. And a lot of the people that are building content and doing video work don't want to talk about their process. It's all secret. This is somebody that's willing to share everything.
Yeah,
So for now, I want to support that.
yeah. I think every time we talk about them or talk about these kind of apps that have spatial video, and I can't remember what the other one was. Um, and when we talked about it, it's like, yeah, maybe I should put down $10 a month just to have
Mhm.
more spatial content to look at. And then either I forget to do it or I do it and then forget that I've done it, so I never look at the spatial content that I'm paying for. But yeah, I keep getting inspired when you talk about these things in terms of
Well,
seeing what it's like.
and we need to get you to go on YouTube to the spatial section and look at the films that they're putting on YouTube as 8K films
So spatial
and give us
film.
some reviews.
So look
Yeah.
at spatial film and look at their 8K. Yeah, okay, I can do that.
Because I can't see it off of YouTube.
Yeah.
I can only see it. So I'm curious, is the YouTube stuff really good? Is the quality good? Is it worth it? And that maybe it's worth just going to an M5 instead. But
Yeah.
I'd have to pay a lot of $10 months to make that work out.
Yep.
So we've come up with a couple of coulda, shoulda, wouldas this week, and I remember
Hmm.
walking into the show from last week. We were all gonna get into the spatial arcade and play games together with a shared FaceTime call, and we didn't get that done. So we need to make a list and find some time where we could knock off some of the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. I will look at the YouTube video version of this and report back in the next episode that we do to see how
Nice.
the 8K is. Um, Dave, you have any thoughts? Any ideas?
Yeah, no, I thought that'd be kind of fun. That we could get that going. I know we talked about it, so it should be something we could do. Get in
Yeah.
the actually do our Vision Pros with for gosh sake, we do this show. We haven't even three of us haven't even done much in
Met
a way of
on
doing that.
Vision Pro, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
You
it
know,
was sort of unfair to expect you to do it while you were moving. So I could see not doing it
I'll
last week.
stick. Yeah,
yeah,
nah, no, it would have been too good.
yeah.
But when
We
you
should,
when you were at that conference, that was that few minutes we got to do that. I thought
right,
that was
yeah,
fun.
Yep.
I'd
that
like
Yeah.
was
to.
fun. So then we need Eric to like capture the video,
Yep.
and then I can, clip a space in the show of the captured video that he has and stick it in there so people can
Yep.
watch me win at throwing paper balls in crumpled up paper balls into a garbage can virtually. So yeah, let's. I will send out like a doodle poll or something that we can look at maybe
Yeah.
this next weekend and see if we got some time to do it. That would be fun. So that's it. That's the wrap for the show. Let's find out. A reminder first that you can follow the live stream on youtube.com/@visionprofiles on Monday nights. You can go and see the live stream anytime. But Monday nights, we are live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or catch the video later on YouTube or the audio on a podcatcher service. So let's start out. David, where can we find you?
You can find me at InTouchWithIOS at InTouchWithIOS.com. YouTube channel is youtube.com/InTouchWithIOS. I am here on Monday nights, Vision Profiles. Tuesday nights, Mac Voices Live with Chuck Joyner and you guys and many others. Thursday nights, we record the show, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Then I'm on the Mac Show on the British Tech Network on Friday mornings. And you can find me on social media at DaveG65, Blue Sky, and Mastodon.
Okay. Eric.
I can be found on Mastodon at EABOLDEN at MAS.TO. Otherwise, of course, here on Mondays in real life, if not virtually, on Vision Profiles. Tuesdays on Mac Voices Live. And Thursdays on In Touch with iOS, kind of progressing through the OS's news of the week and other commentary.
And you can catch me here Monday nights, Vision Profiles, Tuesdays with Chuck Joyner, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and with these guys on Chuck's Mac Voices show, and also Thursday with Dave on In Touch with iOS, Friday at Friday mornings on the British Tech Network with the Mac Show. Any of the other projects you're interested in that I do, go and check out thepodtalk.net. It's got things like Fade to Chat. It's got 15-minute bites. It has Tech Savvy Professor. It has Gear Up and Go, and my son is in one place long enough that we can actually record a show. You can find me at Gencius, Jencius, on Mastodon and also on Blue Sky, and communicate with us in all sorts of ways. The podtalknetwork@gmail.com is our email address. If you have an opportunity to email us with your thoughts or thanks or ideas for the show. Our bumper music is Free Jazzy by Steve Combs, courtesy of the Free Music Archive. I had this moment today, and we have our own little group kind of chat, text messaging, and I was just really kind of moved. It's like, man, Dave, it's so nice to have this, friendship with Dave, with Eric, with folks on the other one. And it's like, I was going to post something to the group chat, and I thought you guys would think either I had gone nuts or I was drinking because of spring break. But it was I had this moment of sincerity that I needed to express somehow. And I really do recognize that. And
me too.
How special it is to have the connection with all the tech friends that we have.
Yes.
You can learn more about us at podtalk.net. Spread the word to other visionaries. Thanks for listening. And